So this is the Cancer solar eclipse happening on July 2nd, 2019. And so this is because it's a solar eclipse, it's like a supercharged new moon. And like all new moons, it's a great time for new beginnings. Eclipses can bring sudden changes, they can bring new information. This new beginnings energy shows up even more strongly than like a normal new moon. And the energy of this solar eclipses happen in similar signs for a period of about 18 months. And the last time that eclipses were happening in the sign of Cancer was back in the year 2000 and 2001, and then also 2009 and 2010. So with this solar eclipse coming up on July 2nd, you can think back to those periods of time, 2000, 2001, and 2009, 2010. There may be a connection to those time periods, and there may also be similar themes that come up in the July eclipse to what happened back in those years. And so the eclipse is happening in Cancer, which is a water sign, and the sign of Cancer is where the north node of the moon is currently transiting for this year. And so there is this focus in Cancer energy throughout this entire year, as long as the north node is there, on this watery Cancer energy, which some of the themes related to Cancer, it relates to the home, and it relates to where you find a sense of home within yourself, like your inner emotional domain or landscape. Because it's a water sign, it rules the emotions. It's the first water sign, which means it relates to our individual emotional responses. And so that's a general energy of the solar eclipse. And of course, if you look specifically in your astrology chart to where the sign of Cancer is located, that'll tell you what specific areas of your life you'll be having this supercharged new beginnings energy. And then looking at the ruler of this eclipse, of course, it is the moon, because Cancer is the moon's sign. And so the moon is very at home here, and it's happening at 10 degrees of Cancer, so right in the middle of the sign. And then looking at the aspects to this new moon, to this solar eclipse, we can see that we've got obviously the sun and the moon right next to each other. Like at any new moon, it's a time when the sun and the moon are meeting. And then we also have this north node right next to the eclipse as well at 17 degrees. And then another aspect happening is Uranus. We have planet Uranus in Taurus for about the next 7 years. It's gotten up to 5 degrees, and so it's making a sextile aspect to this new moon. And Uranus brings in the energy of revelation. It brings in breakthroughs, sudden changes, surprises. And so there is this tie-in with the energy of the eclipse, because eclipses already can bring in sudden changes and can be game changers, or can serve to take you to a new level, more quickly and more rapidly than you would normally kind of get to, like with this new beginnings energy of a new moon. It's because it's a supercharged new moon. And so it's a similar theme to the planet Uranus, which can cause these sudden surprising changes. And so this new moon energy is getting an extra boost of unpredictability and breakthrough type of energy from this connection to Uranus. And because it's a sextile is a harmonious connection, and so Uranus is working in partnership with this Cancer energy and helping to support the change, the new beginning that's happening there. And other aspect happening to the new moon is Neptune, also in a water sign it's in the sign of Pisces, and so it's pouring harmonious energy into this new moon, also into this solar eclipse, because the water energy is harmonious with the other water energy. And Neptune is in this long-term transit in Pisces, and Neptune is our imagination, our dreams. And so what you're feeling, what you're intuiting for yourself with this new beginning in Cancer, what you're, the new changes, new beginnings that are related to Cancer themes like home or like your inner emotional landscape, how you're feeling about the direction that you're headed in this year, that's getting a harmonious boost from this Neptune energy, which is about what you can imagine for yourself. A Neptune is about being able to receive a vision or receive an inspiration for something that's beyond what you could previously even imagine for yourself. So it's adding this spiritual, imaginative energy to the new moon and helping you dream beyond what you had previously been able to conceive of for yourself. And then also aspecting this eclipse is these planets in Capricorn at the opposite side of the spectrum. And so with this eclipse season in July, we've got the solar eclipse happening in Cancer, and then in a couple weeks we're going to have the lunar eclipse in Capricorn, because the eclipses always happen along the same polarity. And down in Capricorn, opposite the new moon, the solar eclipse, we've got Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. And so really what I think this one is about, the South Node represents what we're moving away from, what we're healing trauma around, what we're releasing. The North Node represents what we're moving towards. And so we're moving towards this Cancer energy of honoring our emotions, honoring our feelings, nurturing ourselves, creating a home environment that's very nurturing, and also allowing ourselves to, express and live from this place of what feels good, really good and nurturing and supportive to us. And then with the Capricorn, this sign is more about who we are on the outside, like our role in society and how we externalize our energy, our career or the work that we do in the world. And so there's this tension between this healing or this release or this resolution of the South Node in Capricorn and Saturn and Pluto of perhaps healing trauma around maybe there's been a disconnect between how we have been presenting ourselves on the outside and in society or in our jobs or careers versus how we feel on the inside. And so this is, a long-term theme going on of understanding and transforming, some of how we have been, acting or expressing ourselves in public, in our career, in the outer world versus how we're really feeling on the inside. And so that's another dynamic that's happening. And then let's take a moment to look at the numerology of this eclipse as well. So the month of July in numerology is a 1 universal month. And so it's a month associated with number 1 energies, which 1 is the beginning of the 1 through 9 sequence in numerology. So it's all about new beginnings as well. So it ties in, really excellently with the theme of this solar eclipse of new beginnings, because also July is this 1 month. So again, it's this 1 energy of new beginnings, starting something new, and, a perfect tie-in with the eclipse, which is also happening at 10 degrees. Both sun and the moon are at 10 degrees, which is another example of the 1 energy, because the number 10 reduces to a 1. So you got that double number 1 tie-in happening there with the numerology. And then finally, let's take a look at other aspects that are happening at the time of this eclipse. We have Neptune. Neptune is kind of like a planet that ties things together that are happening in astrology right now. We already looked at how Neptune is acting favorably with the planets in Cancer. And then also Neptune is interacting with the planets in Capricorn in a sextile and another favorable connection. And then there is a conversation of tension between Neptune and Jupiter down here in Sagittarius. And so this Neptune and Jupiter connection is another one of these long-term themes for 2019. So we'll just touch on that for a moment as well, because it's also adding to the flavor of this Cancer solar eclipse. And Neptune, as I mentioned, is about inviting you to dream something new, receive a vision from your intuition about, what's really possible for you that's different than what you had imagined for yourself before. And Jupiter down here in Sagittarius is right in the middle of the sign, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion and the planet of optimism and positive energy. And it's in Sagittarius, the sign which is about wanting to go on an adventure, wanting to pursue your goals with a lot of passion, really having a lot of enthusiasm. It's the sign that Jupiter rules. And so there's all this drive from this Jupiter about wanting to move forward towards what you're wanting, towards your goals, towards a new adventure. It's also, Sagittarius can be about travel. It can be about wanting to explore new places. And so perhaps there's desires related to that, but this Jupiter energy in Sagittarius is in a tense relationship with this Neptune in Pisces. And it's tense because, not that it's negative necessarily, there's different ways that this could manifest. It could create confusion from Neptune about what you really want to pursue with this Jupiter and Sagittarius energy, but I think the more likely positive manifestation of it is that it's inspiring you to really become more clear about what you want and to really be able to access your imagination and let yourself dream big. This is an invitation to use this expansive energy of Jupiter combined with the imagination of Neptune and this fiery energy too of the Sagittarius. Fire signs always inspire you to want to take action and move towards something. And so it's kind of like forcing you to really, sort of like put your money where your mouth is and actually move forward and take action on your big dream and let it be bigger and imagine it, something for yourself that you maybe didn't give yourself permission to imagine before. And so in that way, it's tying in and it's supporting this new beginning energy that's going on with this eclipse. And then to wrap up this look at the solar eclipse, really it is, just to make some overall statements about it, it really is a good time for new beginnings, new insights, and planting new seeds in this, especially in this portion, the Cancer portion of your astrology chart. And on the other hand, this solar eclipse time period, I don't think it is the best time for really trying to nail down long-term commitments or long-term agreements, related to what may be transpiring with these new beginnings. And I say that just because during eclipse season, we've got the other eclipse happening, in a couple of weeks after this one, which is going to be down in Capricorn, that may reveal other information that you would want to take into account before you committed to anything long term. And the other thing that's going to be happening this month as well is that Mercury is going to be going retrograde and is going to be moving back, or here's Mercury right here, moving back into the sign of Cancer. And so the new beginnings that are transpiring in this area of your life are going to be reviewed. There's going to be more information that comes forward about them because of this Mercury retrograde that's going to be happening. I think it's like July 8th maybe through the 31st, so most of the month. That's going to be a time of new energy or new communication, information, the things that Mercury rules, and it's going to be of reviewing those details and that information and the new things coming forward about that area. And so really, what I would recommend is waiting until probably August before really making any long-term plans or commitments around these new beginning topics. So overall, it's a very exciting Cancer solar eclipse energy. It's really gonna be a highlight of the year, I think, because we have this long-term North Node transit, and this new moon is right here next to it. So it's going to be something that really brings in a lot of new energy. Plus it's the number one month in numerology, so really a time of a lot of fresh new energy starting to come in for this year, and which is going to be impacting us for the next 6 months until we have eclipses again in these signs, which will be in December and January of next year. So I think that's about all I wanted to share about this Cancer solar eclipse. I hope that you found that helpful, and I'll be back to talk about the next eclipse. That's going to be the Capricorn lunar eclipse in a couple of weeks. So I'll talk to you then soon. Bye.